Welcome to Find Me in a Book. This podcast is meant to be like you're talking to your best friend about romance books. I share my passion with those who love to read, those who don't have time to read, or those that don't like to read, but still want to know and be involved with book conversations. Thank you for being here. Let's get started. Hello! I hope you had a great week last week, and we're moving closer to the Christmas season, or Christmas, just holiday season. And I hope that you are doing good on your presents. I hope that you're ahead of it. And we can officially start our advent calendars now. So we have just one, and it's for the dogs. And if you have a World Market by you, I definitely recommend going there because one, is so cool. Two, they have all the different countries, like their chocolates and candies. And three, they literally have the best advent calendars. Like there's so many different kinds. There's like a soup one, which we're not big soup people, but I think if I was a soup person, I would definitely pick that up. We did pick up one, for the dogs. They have cute little treats. They're like little icing treats. And then we picked up a 12 Days of Christmas one of hot sauces. And the more that I think about it, I don't know if they're hot sauces for like chicken wings, because that's what we originally got it for. We're going to be making chicken wings, and the husband wants to make these videos about them. And the more I think about it, I don't think they are for chicken wings. I don't know. We're going to try it, and if it fails, it's good content, I don't know. We'll see. But if you're looking for a great advent calendar, World Market definitely has a large variety. And I hope that last week that you were able to find quite a few books to put on your TBR list and some authors that you're looking into, and, just getting into this holiday season, which most people have quite a few days off. And hopefully you're one of those people too, that you will get some time to kind of relax and to read some books. So wanted to do that episode last week, and then it spurred into this week's episode. We're going to be doing kind of my top 24 contemporary authors that I love. And some of them I'll have specific books that I'll recommend. But most of them are anything that I've read from them has been very solid. And so it just happened to be the same number as last week. So I'm just going to continue on this 24 train and see what we can come up with. I don't know about next week though, but as for last week and this week, we're on the number 24, you know what I'm saying? And it was kind of difficult to find these books because at first I wanted to do books that you can read that are just one-off books that are contemporary. And as I was going through kind of my archives and everything, I realized that a lot of the authors like to change their book covers, digital book covers, and it makes it very difficult to remember what those books are about because I've kind of associated them with the cover and been like, okay, I have read this one because I remember this cover. But when they change them, I'm like, I don't know or remember what this one was about. And so it was pretty difficult. So I instead was like, you know what, I'm just going to do authors. And then if there's a specific book that I really remember that I really loved, I'll put that with the author. But in general, I just wanted to do authors because from a lot of them, I've read quite a few of their books and they've all been very solid. And most of them have been standalones. And so I'm just let's just do the general author that you can go to their page or their Amazon Kindle or wherever you get your books and have just a solid picking from those authors. And I feel like that will lead you down a good path for recommendations. So I wanted to do this, again, to add more to your TBR for the holiday season. If you really are I don't want to get into a series, I just want to read a contemporary, or I just want to read a standalone, this is where it's at. That's why I want to do this before the holiday season. I did actually read a book this week. I've been kind of off the past couple weeks where I think I've read so much that I'm just kind of I just want a little break for a minute, and I don't know what I'm feeling right now. I don't know if I want to pick up a contemporary. I don't know if I want to pick up a fantasy. I'm just kind of in the neutral zone where I'm do I want to read something new? Do I want to read something that I've read before? I just don't know right now. until like something really catches my attention, which there's been quite a few books. One of them is, I can't remember who writes it, but it's the Hurricane Wars. I've actually been hearing a lot of great things about it, and I have it on my list to buy, but it's just not payday yet. You know what I'm saying? So that one is on my list. And then what's another one that one of them, oh, I did want to talk about this. I don't know if you've heard of Manacle or Manacled. I don't know who writes it, but it's a fan fiction of Hermione and Draco, like together. Like it's a Harry Potter fan fiction, but it's about them. And it's not, I don't think it's published anywhere. You have to like go online and download like a PDF version. And I believe it's free. I really want to read it, and I just haven't looked very deep into it. I know that there's quite a few like trigger warnings with it. I think there's like an SA trigger warning. So I know going into that, not that I'm like triggered by that, but it's good to know that there are like some trigger warnings, that it's a lot more adult, I've heard, than the Harry Potter books for sure. But I think that is one book that I definitely want to read in the next week or so. So I'll keep you updated on that. And I also, I've known about Reddit. I've known about Reddit, and I know what it's about. I know just like kind of from other people. And I watched the movie Dumb Money, which is like with the Wall Street bets and like with Reddit and a YouTuber and all that. So I've always known about Reddit, but I've just never used it until this past week, that I was like, oh, I'm going to go and look and see if there's like some book threads or whatever. Oh, there definitely is. I am deep in every rabbit hole on Reddit. Like we lived in Utah for about 8 years. And if you know Utah, you know that it is like the capital of influencer moms. And so I found a thread or like a little side, whatever, I don't know what they're called, like chats, categories, communities of like Utah influencers. And there is so much tea. Like people are savage on Reddit because it's all anonymous. And so, yeah, there's multiple things like that I have like gotten deep into. And like even the thread that's like Ask Reddit, where people just ask questions and they're so interesting. So yeah, I've definitely deep dived into that. I did find the book category or community. And so I've been like posting on there, like with people asking like, oh, what are some recommendations for this or that? Or do you like thoughts? And I've been replying to people just because I think it's fun and exciting. So it's another little community. So yeah, that's been pretty fun. And people are not afraid to voice their opinions on there. And it's just fun to see what people are thinking and saying on there about like the book community and being in the book community. And it just, I don't know, it's been a treat this past week. Honestly, I have just spent way too much time on that app, and I'm now, I kind of regret it, but I also don't, because I'm like, this is really fun. I like this. So that's been a new thing this week, is Reddit. And as I was going through my library to find these books and to find all the other books, I forgot. Actually, I didn't. Well, okay. So I did forget about this series and this author. And it's a series that I read a long time ago, and I didn't even read all of them because I feel like, honestly, this was the first series where it's just absolute like smut, like just spice, like lots of toast, lots of spice. And it surprised me, the first book, but then I was like, oh, I really like this. So it is, actually, I think it's called like the Kings series. It is fantasy. So that's why I'm mentioning it, because I feel like I should have put it on the episode last week, but I didn't remember it. It's by Heather Killough-Walden. It's like Killough-Walden. And there's 12 books, and they're each a king of the like fantasy world. It's like combined with regular world. And so there's like the Vampire King, the Phantom King, the Warlock King, the Goblin King, the Seelie and Unseelie King, the Shadow King, the Winter King, the Demon King, the Shifter King, the Nightmare King, and the Dragon King. So there's 12 books and 12 kings, and they each are trying to find like their mate and their person. And there also is like it's like a mystery thriller, like who did what, who betrayed the kings. Like it's pretty interesting, but it's kind of a background story. Like the main story are these kings trying to find their mates so that they can become stronger and have like a stronger like kingdom slash like breed. That's lack of a better term. But the main focus in these books is like the relationship, the smut, the spiciness, just all of it. And then, there's like a secret person that is kind of sabotaging them. And so it's kind of like a whodunit. I think I got to the Demon King. So, and she was still coming out with books when I read them too. And so I think there was the Shifter, Nightmare, and Shadow. Shifter, Nightmare, and Dragon. Those three I haven't, those three I haven't read. But I've read the other 9. So they're actually pretty quick and short. Not short, but I want to say that there's like 200, maybe 300 pages in these. So they're a pretty quick read. And I mean, I haven't read them in a while, but they were pretty solid. So if you're looking for like pure smut, just so good, then pick up these 12 books because it's a great series. So on to now the contemporary authors. And some of them do a couple fantasy books, but for the most part, these authors are pretty strict in staying with the contemporary, and a lot of them do standoff books or standalone books, but a couple of them do series and ones that can be a series or can be like one-off books. I guess I keep saying one-off, but I think the term is like standalone. So I just got to remember to say that. So I am going to go over, the authors. And then if there's like specific books that I really like from them, then we'll go over that as well. So the first one is Tijan. And I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. She was one that, it was my very first episode, and I did a book of hers. And every single book that she has done has been absolutely solid. Absolutely solid. I love when she comes out with books. And most of the time, they are standalone books. And the first one that I want to mention is Anti-StepBrother. And I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this book before in one of like my favorite books because I don't know what it is, but the character, like the main female character, is just really witty and funny. And she's going to college and she gets the attention of the super rich, super popular, super nobody can touch him, nobody can get his attention guy. Like she gets his attention. And he's just like the gruff, grumpy, and then he starts to like her, and you slowly see that friendship turn into a relationship. But also she's like at first obsessed with her stepbrother, and she always has been. And so there's like nothing that happens with them, and it's not like a weird stepbrother thing. It like she goes to the same college as him, and he like manipulates her, and so she's like heartbroken, and then this other guy like steps in, and so it's based in like college. I really, really like it. And the other two that I really liked from her is Cole and Carter Reed, and they're part of like her mafia like category. She does a lot of mafia books, which I really like because I know nothing about mafia, and I don't even know if these books are like accurate to how mafia is. I just assume that they are, And so those 2 books are really good from her. This one, though, I just wanted to mention the book name, not exactly like the author, because I haven't read anything more from this author. Actually, the next 3 of them are like that, where I liked the book, and so that's why I put them on here. But the first one is The Boy Who Sneaks in My Bedroom Window. Yes, that's really the title, by Kirsty Moseley. I remember really, really liking this book. I don't know if I would like it so much now, just because it is kind of like a high school book, or like they are in high school. And that's just not my category that I choose anymore, because I mean, I'm more grown up now and I'm in my 30s. Like I don't really relate to books that are based in high school anymore. And the next one also, I believe, was a high school one too. It's called My Life Next Door by Huntley Fitzpatrick. So those two are very, very good. And then the third one is Easy by Tammara Weber. And this one is based in college. And I really, really liked this one. Like, I would read it again in a heartbeat. It's very, very good. I haven't read anything else by this author, though. But that book for sure is one that you definitely want to pick up. And then, of course, I had to mention my girl, my favorite author, Mariana Zapata. You know I am obsessed with her. Obsessed. I wish she came out with books faster. I really do. I think she comes out with one like once a year. And it just, I'm glad that she only announces it like a couple days before. So then I'm not like on pins and needles like for months, you know? But also, I wish that she would come out with more often, because I reread her books constantly. Like when I'm not ready for a new book, like how I've been the past couple weeks, I will pick up one of hers. And most of the time it is Wait For It. Like that's the book title. That's one of my absolutely favorite books. And they're all slow burn. But again, like anything by Mariana Zapata is absolutely solid. So freaking good. I can't emphasize that enough. The next, we're getting into like authors now, just authors in general. The next one is Emma Hart. Her books are very, very solid. The one that I like the most is The Roommate Agreement. That one is very cute. Her female characters are usually very witty, very funny, very like quirky, and I just love that. The next author is Penelope Ward. Hers are a bit more like on the serious side, and most of them are based in like college and frat type age. But most of them, the ones that I have read from her, all are very solid. The next one, I have talked about this author a lot, is V. Keeland. Anything by her, again. She has more of the like, they're usually very corporate or like very adult, usually in like their late 20s, early 30s, very business-minded type characters. And I just have always really liked her writing style and how she creates these problems and solves them. Just the relationships between the characters are just, there's just so much sexual tension in them that I'm just like, I like this a lot. And then we all know Emily Henry. She is so solid. Any of her books, very, very good writing, very good characters. She does well on preying on my irritations, I guess. Like sometimes I do get irritated or annoyed with her characters just because sometimes it could just be solved very quickly. Like the turmoil or the problem that these characters have. Like I think it was People We Meet on Vacation. No. Happy Place. That is the book where I really liked it, but I was so frustrated with it because everything could have been solved if there was communication. Like they just needed to talk to each other. And sometimes these books, like everyone raves about them. And then there's also a very strong other side where people are like, nope, didn't like it, couldn't stand it. And I can see both sides. But for the most part, everything that she has written that I have read has been very solid. The next one is Elena Armas. She has 3 books out now, and I have done episodes on them. And I do have some, some thoughts about each of these books that I have talked about in each episode. But for the most part, I do like the characters. I do like their storylines. I do like what they go through and how they come together. And just overall, I do really like those books. There's, of course, just some complaints, like usual. So the next one, talked about her multiple times. She, of course, is one of my top favorite authors, is Tessa Bailey. Literally anything you pick up from Tessa Bailey is absolutely solid. I 100% put my stamp of approval with anything that she writes. It's all been good. One that kind of reminds me of Tessa Bailey is Avery Flynn. And I really like, it is kind of a little bit of series, but you can read them on like standalone books, is Butterface. That one is very cute. I love that little series a lot. They're just very down to earth. The characters are quirky. I love the relationships, the friendships that are built in there. Avery Flynn does very well. The next one is Allie Hazelwood. We've talked about her multiple times. A lot of these authors we have talked about multiple times. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, they are on this list and are being repeated because all of their books, are the ones that I have read, are all very solid. And so I hope that you write these authors down because they're just a very good like treasure trove to pull from when you are needing a new book. But to continue with Allie Hazelwood, I genuinely enjoy her writing because it is very high level. Like, her characters are extremely smart. I love how she writes her female characters. They are all like scientists. They are all like these very, very professional, high, like educational people that I just am like, I'm obsessed with because we don't get that very often. And these women are just so strong, so independent. But it makes them, she like makes them feel very real and very like relatable, even if they are like highly educated. Like, it just all works so perfect that you realize like, oh, these characters are just like us, even if they have these really high paying, like really smart positions, like they're very normal people. So I really enjoy that about her. One that I have started to read more and more books from is Elle Kennedy. I think that she's been around for a while, but it hasn't been until like the past year where her books have really like taken off. And so I'm excited to deep dive more into her earlier books and see if they are just as good as the ones that she has now. The next one is Hannah Grace. Her books are solid. I believe that she's a pretty like new author. Then we have K.A. Tucker, which I talked about last week with The Simple Wild. I think I'm going to start that series again. I think I am. Like, I just remember them being so good. And I think I need a filler week. These are the 2 filler weeks that I can just read whatever I want. So I think I'm going to pick up that. Next one is Lucy Score. We love The Things We Left Behind, or The Light We Leave Behind. I can never get those titles right, but that series and then the other series by her, and I think she has some standalone books that are very good. And then we have Winter Renshaw. I've ranted and raved about her. She has a very like professional corporate characters as well. Whitney G, she's a new one, very good. Lynn Painter. I don't know why I didn't write down the book that she wrote. But I know that I've read multiple by her. There's just not one that's coming to mind that I liked a lot. And I should have put one down because she's not an author that you hear very often. Next one is Staci Hart. And then we have Isla Madden-Mills, which hers are very good. We have B.K. Borison. She's the one that wrote the Lovelight Farms, which those ones are so cute. They're so cute. Like, if you want to be in a small town romance, they remind me of like Hallmark movies, but they're just like written well, like way better. And these people like live in these small towns and they have these like little cute like tree farms, and just, I read that whole series. They can be standalones too, of course. But I read that whole series so fast because they're just so cute and quirky. And it just, if you love those small town like vibes and just love the small town characters, you're going to love these books. Then we have Amy Leah, which I've mentioned her a couple times. She's the one that did like the influencer series. So there was 2 books in that. And then she had one come out this past year called Woke Up Like This that I put on the podcast. I have mentioned that one before, but her books have been really cute, really solid. We have Catherine Cowles, which she did do a contemporary series, but I believe I just read the first book of the series, and it definitely could have been a standalone. It's The Beautifully Broken Spirit was the first one, and then the other books are like Beautifully Broken, whatever, like another word after it. We have Kennedy Ryan, which I feel like she has started to get a little bit more notice and more attention, which obviously she should because she's come out with some really great books. We have R.S. Gray, and then we have Nicole Snow. So those are a list of authors that you can look into that have very solid books. I recommend, honestly, like all of these authors, else I wouldn't have put them on here. And as I was going through the different books that I have in my Kindle and on my Kindle Unlimited, I found a series. Well, I don't really know the series, but they I guess could be contemporary / fantasy. Not really fantasy. It's like time travel. So I don't really know if I don't know what you would categorize it as, because they time travel back to the Highlander days, like over in Scotland in the Highlands. I'm pretty sure that's where the Highlands are, or Ireland. I get those mixed up. So Lynn Kurland, my mom found Lynn Kurland, her series, back when I was just a teenager, and we would always go to the library. And my mom found this, and then I started to read them after she read them. And they're very clean books. They have like the sexual tension, but it's just like you get so captured by this family because it's like modern day, and then they time travel back there to the Highlands, and then usually like one of them stays. So like, I think the very first book, it was like a woman, she goes back and she finds her love and they start a family back there. Like, she doesn't go back to modern day. And then that starts like their family tree. And so like the next couple books are like of their kids. And then the next couple books are of their kids. And so you just basically follow this family down this family tree, and you know like who they marry, what situation they go into. Like, you become obsessed with this family because you want to know, oh my gosh, what happened to her sister? Oh, the next book is about her sister. Okay, I want to know her story. And there's like so many books in this series, and they can be standalone, but I highly recommend that you do like start with book 1, because it just is like so addicting to know about these family members, because sometimes the individual, like, they go to the Highlands and they fall in love, and sometimes their their partner comes back to modern day with them. And I think that there were a couple that the Highlanders somehow get into the modern day and they find their person. And so it's just like going back and forth, but there's always like time travel, and you just like, oh, you just love this whole family, and you love each individual and their trials and how they come together. And it's like the most solid, wholesome series. And I remember being obsessed with it, and my mom was obsessed with it. And so I started slowly buying those books over the years because they're not on Kindle Unlimited. They're kind of expensive. Like, when there are deals, I always go and look for those books because I just slowly want to build my library of this series, because it's so good. And so as a teenager, if I'm reading this, like, it's pretty clean, like a pretty clean series, but it's just like there's suspense, there's mystery, there's thriller, there's like all these different storylines that just keep you entertained the whole time. So that is a series and an author I highly recommend as well. But yeah, overall, like, because last week I said, oh, if you're going to pick up a series of all of these, like, I highly pick this one. If I'm going to say an author that I definitely think you should start reading, of course, honestly, I'm going to say like Mariana Zapata, but that's not a lot of people's cup of tea, is the slow burn. And they do get spicy when they do actually have toast. But yeah, it honestly depends on your level of spice. Like I should have put like the grading of spice for each of them because yeah, they all have different levels. Um Gosh, they're all just so good that I don't know if there's one that I can be like, okay, you have to read all of these books. There are those individual ones that I did say. So like Easy by Tammara Weber is really good. Obviously the Anti-StepBrother by Tijan is really good. Um Anything like I mean if you want to read kind of along with me, I'm reading through like Elle Kennedy's books. K.A. Tucker, Lucy Score, like they all are just so solid. I don't think that I can be like, you absolutely have to pick this one because they're just, they've never let me down, you know? Like these are my tried and true authors that I know with whatever they release, like I'm most likely going to love it. And I will immediately pick it up as well. I might not all like love all of them, but I know that I'm going to pick them up and will at least try to read these. So I hope that this gives you a little bit more, you know, channels, different avenues to look for more books, and can put those on there. And also to kind of keep you aware of these authors too, to like follow them on social media or just like look for the books in general. It definitely gives them a little bit more attention, which I feel like they deserve is more attention to their books. So hopefully this was helpful. And yeah, I maybe we'll come up with another series. 24 what? 24 best spicy scenes? Maybe. That'd be a lot of research, but I probably could do it. I don't know. It's going to be something like that. Maybe I'll do another one next week. But, anyways, I hope this was helpful and I hope it was you like these kind of like talk through ones. Instead of just like focusing on one book, you know, just trying to surprise all of y'all. Very grateful for everyone. We hit 2 years at the beginning of November. We hit over 100 episodes in November. So November was a really big month. And I'm hoping that it comes back or comes to December as well to be a really big month. So I'm excited that you're here. Please follow me on all the social medias. I am very active on my Instagram. And then if you want to see what I look like, which, you know, is the very best, and want to watch this episode, definitely go to my YouTube where these episodes are uploaded so you can watch as well. So that's always fun. If you just don't want to listen, you can, you know, watch. I mean, you'll still have to listen, but you know what I'm saying. So anyways, grateful for you guys, and I will talk to you next week.